Chosen one. Heaven interrupts your moment, because this is not ordinary. This is not chance. This is a divine appointment, a direct message crafted for your spirit. The Lord's voice presses urgently, "I will not warn you again." You feel it in your chest right now, the weight of eternity knocking on your heart. This moment will not come back in the same way. You know what it feels like to be unseen, to be the one others overlook, to cry in silence while pretending everything is fine. You've walked through nights when it felt as though God Himself had gone quiet. Yet every sigh, every tear, every whispered "why" has been heard. Nothing has been wasted. The struggles you endured were not punishments, they were proofs of your calling. Think of a seed buried under cold soil. For a season, it looks like death. It looks like nothing is happening. But underground, life is pressing. Roots are forming. Destiny is stirring. You are that seed. Your waiting has not been wasted. It has been preparation. I tell you the story of another chosen one. He was a young man with a dream that burned in his heart. But betrayal struck those closest to him, sold him into slavery. For years, he served in shadows, accused of crimes he did not commit, locked behind prison walls. His name was Joseph. The world thought him forgotten, but God had positioned him. In one moment, he was lifted from prison to palace. What looked like an end became the beginning of destiny. Chosen one. Your hidden years are not your finish, they are your foundation. But you cannot stay wavering. The Spirit asks you now, how long will you delay? How long will you linger between decisions? Hesitation is dangerous. It's like a soldier who hears the trumpet blast and yet remains lying in the dust, waiting for another call. That soldier does not fall because he is weak, but because he ignored the summons. Do not let that be your story. You are different. That is why opposition feels heavier. The darkness knows your name, and it fears what you carry. You've wondered, why do battles come harder for me? Because the light inside you threatens the night. And yes, fire surrounds you. But remember, fire is not only destruction. Fire also refines gold. The ancient words recorded in the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 1, declare, "Whoever remains stiff-necked after many rebukes will suddenly be destroyed without remedy." This is why the warning comes with weight. Grace is precious, but grace is not endless. The door open today may not remain open tomorrow. The Spirit pleads now, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Delay hardens hearts. Delay blinds eyes. Delay steals crowns. Do not treat your destiny like an optional path. You were never designed to blend in with the crowd. You were chosen to be a light on a hill, a city that cannot be hidden, a voice that disturbs the plans of darkness simply by existing. Hear me carefully. God is not looking for empty words, but surrendered hearts. Not perfection, but obedience. The yes that costs you something is the yes that unlocks heaven's favor. And so, I ask you now, what will you choose? To drift with the shadows, or to rise into the light? To keep scrolling as if this is just another message? Or to pause and say, "Lord, I will obey"? When you choose, heaven moves. Angels respond. Doors shift. Your feet will stand, not as a wanderer, but as a warrior. The valley will not define you. Your decision will. Chosen one. If this message shakes something inside you, do not stay silent. Share it so another heart awakens. Press like so, it spreads beyond your circle. And in the comments, declare your agreement by writing 444, a number marking alignment with heaven's warning and heaven's promise. This is not the ending of your journey. It is the threshold. Cross it now. Do not let this moment slip away. Some scroll past and forget. But your spirit knows this is different. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine the path before you. Bright as dawn, clear as crystal waters. That is the life God calls you into. A path not of confusion, but of clarity. Not of wandering, but of destiny. You are stronger than you believe. Heaven has equipped you with armor unseen, with courage waiting to rise. The world may see weakness, but God sees a warrior clothed in light. Chosen one, step forward, take your place, and never look back. You carry scars that few have seen, not the scars on your skin, but the scars carved deep into your soul. Every whispered insult, every betrayal you didn't deserve, every night you buried your face in the pillow, silencing sobs so no one would hear. These wounds speak loudly, and sometimes you wonder if God himself has turned away. But listen closely. Your pain is not proof of abandonment. It is proof of the battle for your soul. The enemy does not fight what has no value. He fights what carries eternal weight. You are the treasure he cannot afford to lose. Picture a violin left in the corner of a dusty room, cracked, scratched, forgotten. To most, it looks worthless, but when placed in the hands of a master musician, even broken strings can release melodies that bring tears to the eyes. That is your story. You have been dismissed by many, but the Master has not let go. He sees what others cannot. Do you remember those moments when you almost gave up completely? When you whispered, "God, I can't do this anymore." Heaven recorded those words, and though silence followed, it wasn't absence, it was preparation. Silence is not always rejection. Sometimes silence is God sharpening you in secret. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who carried grief heavier than stone. He had lost family, friends. Everything he thought gave life, meaning. For months, he walked through days, numb and hollow. People spoke, but their words slid past him like water over glass. One night, unable to sleep, he opened the scriptures. His eyes fell on a verse, and suddenly, the words pierced through despair. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Those words became his lifeline. In weakness, he discovered strength. In emptiness, he discovered fullness. His tears did not stop overnight, but slowly his spirit rose again, and eventually, the pain that once crushed him became the platform from which he could help others. This is also your portion. The ache you carry will not be wasted. Your suffering will become someone else's survival story. The valley you walk through now will one day make you a guide for those stumbling in the same darkness. I know the weight feels unbearable, but remember this: the weight you feel is the evidence that you are being built to carry glory. A fragile vessel cannot hold heavy treasure. That is why the refining continues, even when you plead for it to end. Think of the ocean. On the surface, waves crash and roar, loud and violent. But deep beneath, in the stillness, there is silence. Calm, unshaken by storms above. Your soul is learning to go deeper, to stop living only on the surface of emotions and circumstances. God is pulling you into depths where storms cannot shatter you. Some wounds remain invisible to the world, but not to Him. He knows the ache you hide behind your smile. He knows the strength it takes to get out of bed when despair weighs like chains. And He whispers still, "I am near." Now, you may not feel it yet, but your story is not ending here. Your scars are not curses. They are evidence of survival. Each scar says, "I walked through fire, and I did not burn." Now, and in time, you will look back and see that the very places of pain became the very places where His presence grew strongest. The cracks in your heart let in the light. So hold on. Even when your hands tremble, rest. Even when your mind screams, breathe. Even when your chest feels heavy. These small acts of endurance are seeds. And one day, they will bloom into strength you never imagined. Chosen one, your heart laid bare is not your weakness. It is your offering. Place it in God's hands, and He will make beauty from ashes. And when the ashes settle, you will see what remained. Not the brokenness, not the pain, but the evidence that God was there all along. Your story is not a tragedy. It is a testimony being written line by line. Every moment of silence, every tear, every unanswered question, all of it will one day echo as proof that He carried you. Do not despise the wounds, they are doors. Do not curse the tears, they are rivers. From these places, new life will flow. Chosen one, the world has not seen your final chapter yet. You stand at a threshold, the place between what has been and what is about to be. The air feels heavy, not because God is far, but because the weight of decision rests on your shoulders. You know this moment matters. You know the next step you take could change the entire course of your life. The Spirit is pressing urgently. You are one rebellion away from blindness, one more excuse, one more delay, and the heart begins to harden in ways you cannot reverse. Grace is a gift, but grace is not a toy. Picture a candle flickering in the wind. At first, the flame dances and struggles, but then, if no protection comes, the wind swallows it in a single breath. That is what compromise does. It does not happen all at once. It begins small, but if unchecked, it consumes. This is why the warning is sharp. The Lord will not plead endlessly. He calls, and then He steps back, not because He does not love you, but because He will not force you. Love does not chain. Love gives choice. There is a story of a man who stood at the cliff of indecision. His name was Lot. He lived in a city drowning in corruption. Yet his heart hesitated when the angels came to pull him out. He lingered. His delay almost destroyed him. The mercy of God had to drag him by the hand. That same mercy stretches toward you now. The ancient words recorded in the book of Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 15 proclaim, "Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion." Do not harden your heart. Do not assume tomorrow will look the same as today. The enemy's greatest lie is, there's still time, but destiny requires urgency. Your yes today could be the very thing that saves you from regret tomorrow. Think of a bridge stretched across a deep canyon. You stand on one side. staring at the other. To cross requires courage. To hesitate is to risk falling. That is the place you are in right now. Heaven has built the bridge, but only you can step forward. You are one decision away from freedom, one act of surrender away from the release of chains. I must speak plainly. The voice of God is not an echo to be ignored. Each call is a gift, a reminder that mercy is still reaching for you. But gifts left unopened become burdens on Judgment Day. Chosen one. Your choice today will not only shape you, it will echo through those connected to you. The way you respond to God now will ripple into generations. Do not underestimate your influence. And so I ask you, do not stay silent. Make this moment tangible. Write it, declare it, mark it. In the comments, simply type "no more delay" and type these words as more than text. Let them be your response to the Spirit's tug. By declaring "no more delay," you are breaking the cycle of hesitation. You are drawing a line in the sand and stepping across it. You are saying, "My wandering ends here. My obedience begins now." And this public act is not for the crowd, it is for your soul. It is the bold echo of your heart saying yes. And when your yes is loud, heaven responds even louder. Your cliff becomes a crossing. Your hesitation becomes surrender. Your fear becomes faith. Do not miss this moment. The Spirit is not speaking to confuse you. He speaks to awaken you, to shake you from the comfort that has been quietly stealing your destiny. Do you feel that stirring in your chest right now? That is not anxiety. That is conviction. It is the gentle fire of heaven saying, "This is your moment." Many ignore the tug. They say, "I'll change tomorrow." But tomorrow rarely comes. Tomorrow becomes another excuse, another delay, another layer of chains. Look at your journey. How many times have you said, "Later"? How many times has mercy extended another chance? Yet each chance carries a greater cost if wasted. Chosen one. You are not reading this by accident. You are standing where the road splits. To one side, comfort, compromise, delay. To the other, surrender, obedience, destiny. You cannot stand still forever. The road beneath you is moving, pushing you toward a decision. Neutrality does not exist in the kingdom. To delay is to decide. Say it with your heart. This ends here. Say it as a declaration, a turning point, a cry of release. When you declare it, the heavens take record, and your journey into light begins. From the very beginning, your life has carried a mark. Before you spoke your first word, before you took your first step, heaven had already whispered your name. You are not an accident, not a coincidence, not a random existence wandering through time. You are marked for a crown. This is why your life has felt heavier than others. You've often asked, "Why me? Why does it seem like my battles are fiercer? My storms stronger, my nights longer?" The answer is simple. Crowns are not given to those without weight. The greater the calling, the greater the pressure. Think of a royal diadem, heavy with jewels. To wear it requires strength of neck and shoulders. If placed on someone unprepared, it would crush them. Likewise, your trials are not proof of rejection, they are preparation for the weight of the crown. Darkness knows your name. The forces of hell recognized your potential long before you did. This is why temptations have seemed tailor-made, why distractions have circled you, why betrayal has struck you deeper than most. The enemy fears the moment you discover who you truly are. But hear me clearly, heaven also knows your name. Written in the Lamb's book of life, sealed before you were formed in your mother's womb. The God who knit you together did not weave you carelessly. Every thread, every detail was intentional. You were set apart. There is a story of a young shepherd boy, forgotten by his family, tending sheep in the hills. When the prophet came to anoint a king, every brother was called except him. Overlooked, invisible, yet heaven had chosen him. Oil was poured, not on the tallest, not on the strongest, but on the one no one expected. That boy's name was David. From shepherd to king, from pasture to throne, because the crown had always been his destiny. And so it is with you. You may feel invisible to people, but you are never invisible to God. Think of a comet blazing across the sky. To the casual eye, it appears suddenly, out of nowhere, but in truth, it has been traveling for years through darkness, unseen. Until the appointed time of revelation, you are like that comet. Your hidden journey does not diminish your brightness, it multiplies it. The Word of God declares in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Only, these words are not history. They are present truth over your life. You are not trying to become chosen. You already are. What remains is your agreement. Yet the crown comes with conflict. Every king in Scripture faced resistance. Every prophet endured opposition. Every chosen one walked through deserts before stepping into promise. Your desert is not a curse. It is your classroom. It strips away what cannot survive in the palace. It tests your loyalty when no one is watching. Imagine a tree planted in rocky ground. Its roots search deeper, finding water where others cannot. When storms come, that tree stands unshaken because its foundation is hidden strong. You are that tree. The storms have not been sent to kill you. They have been sent to anchor you. And still, the enemy whispers, "You are not worthy. You are too broken. You are too late." Lies designed to make you forget your crown. But crowns are not earned by perfection. They are given by appointment. And heaven has appointed you. Your very existence terrifies the kingdom of darkness. When you rise into full awareness of who you are, you disrupt every plan formed against you. That is why confusion has been a weapon. That is why discouragement has been a constant voice. But now the truth breaks through. You are marked for glory. Do not despise your journey. Do not curse the pain. Every scar is evidence that you are still here, still breathing, still chosen. And if you are still here, then your crown is still waiting. Chosen one. Your story is not random. It is royal. Heaven's seal rests upon your head, and no darkness can erase it. You were chosen before you knew your own name. And when the day comes, you will understand why the journey was so fierce. Every tear will make sense. Every valley will reveal its purpose. The weight you carried will turn into the crown you wear. The shadows that mocked you will bow before the light you carry. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not late. The mark of heaven has never left you. And soon, the world will see what God always knew. You were born for the crown. The battles around your life have not been random. They have been specific. intentional, targeted, because you are chosen. You have felt the weight of attacks. Sometimes they came through people who misunderstood you, sometimes through storms that seemed to strike one after another, and sometimes through the quiet whispers in your mind telling you to give up. The truth is this: weapons have been formed against you. But hear me carefully: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That promise is not a poetic phrase. It is a declaration carved into eternity. The enemy may launch, but heaven blocks. The arrows may fly, but the shield of faith will quench them. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you." End of 4. Still, you may ask, why do I feel the fire so intensely? Because chosen vessels attract greater opposition. Darkness resists what carries light. Thieves do not break into empty houses. They pursue treasure. You are the treasure. Think of yourself as a lighthouse on a rocky coast. Waves crash against it. Winds howl. Storms beat against its walls. Yet the light continues to shine, guiding ships through darkness. The enemy wants to shatter that light because of how many depend on it. There is comfort in knowing you are not fighting alone. Angels surround you. Prayers spoken in silence rise like incense before the throne, and the Spirit intercedes with groans too deep for words. You are part of a greater army, a family of faith that fights together. The prophet Nahum once wrote, "The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him." That is your assurance. Your safety is not in the absence of storms, but in the presence of the shepherd who leads you through. Now, I speak from the heart. This message you are hearing is not only a word, it is a lifeline. And lifelines require builders. Just as a lighthouse must be maintained so it can keep shining, so too this channel, this voice, this work must be sustained. I say this gently. If this message has touched you, if it has spoken into your heart, then consider becoming part of the foundation that allows it to continue. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not just supporting a page, you are extending light into places where shadows dominate. Every click, every action spreads truth farther than you imagine. And when it comes to giving, hear my heart. This is not pressure. This is not a condition. This is an invitation. Supporting this work is like adding oil to a lamp. Without oil, even the brightest flame begins to fade. But with it, the fire grows, the light expands, and more lives are reached. Imagine planting a seed. You drop it into the soil, and for a while, nothing seems to happen. But under the surface, roots grow, life stirs, and soon a tree rises to give shade and fruit. That is what donating does. It is not loss, it is investment in eternal fruit. If you choose to give, do it freely, do it joyfully, do it because you believe in the message of hope being carried. And if you cannot give, know this: your prayers, your presence here, your willingness to share this word, subscribe, and spread it are also seeds of great value. Nothing is wasted. Let your support, whether by sharing, subscribing, or donating, be like adding stones to the foundation of a house. Each stone strengthens the walls so the roof can shelter more souls. Together, we build something that lasts, And always remember, giving is never about what leaves your hand, but about what multiplies in God's hand. A boy once brought only 5 loaves and 2 fish. To him, it seemed small. To the crowd, it seemed insufficient. But in the hands of Jesus, it fed thousands. What you release in faith will always return greater. So let this be clear, there is no pressure, no demand, only the joy of knowing you can play a part in carrying light further. Whether it is your like, your share, your subscribe, or your gift, each act is a piece of the puzzle. And if God places it on your heart to donate, do it as a free act of worship, not obligation, like pouring water on dry ground so that life may bloom. And to every chosen one who has stood with this message through prayer, through likes, through sharing, through subscribing, through giving, heaven smiles, because together we are proving that the light cannot be silenced. There comes a moment when mercy no longer lingers, a moment when the hand of grace, stretched out again and again, begins to pull back. This is not because God delights in judgment, but because He honors choice. To reject His call repeatedly is to choose distance, and distance from Him is the beginning of darkness. You have felt His tug on your heart. You have sensed the whispers in the night, the pricks of conviction during the day. Yet still, the temptation to delay has been strong. Delay is one of the enemy's most effective traps. It feels harmless, but it is deadly. Delay says, "I'll change tomorrow," but tomorrow rarely comes. Mercy is like the morning dew, soft, refreshing, life-giving. Yet, when the sun rises high, the dew disappears. Chosen one, the dew of mercy is still on your life right now, but it will not always remain. That is why the Spirit urges, do not harden your heart. Think of a door slowly swinging shut. At first, there is a wide opening, then smaller still, until finally, only a crack of light remains. If you wait too long, the door will close, and the opportunity will be gone. There was a time when Israel ignored the prophets. They laughed at warnings, rejected correction, and hardened their hearts. Eventually, the prophets grew silent, and judgment came. This is not written to frighten you, it is written to awaken you. The voice of God thundered in the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you. End of quote. Knowledge is not just information, it is revelation. You are hearing it now. To ignore it is to turn from the very light that saves you. A story is told of a man who worked the fields. Every day, he saw the clouds gather, the rain threatening, but he refused to bring in the harvest. He always said, tomorrow. Yet tomorrow the storm came, and the field was ruined. His chance was gone, not because he lacked strength, but because he delayed. So too is your moment. Harvest waits, but storms will not wait forever. Your calling is too valuable to gamble with. Your destiny is too precious to risk. Mercy is still here, but it is stepping back. And when mercy steps back, chains grow stronger, blindness grows darker, and the voice of God grows faint. The Spirit urges you, awaken. Do not let this chance pass like sand slipping through your fingers. Chosen one, Make your response known, not for me, but for you. Mark this moment as the day you refused to delay. In the comments, simply write 515. This number is more than digits. It is a prophetic sign. The number 5 is grace, and the number 1 is divine alignment. Writing 515 is declaring, by grace, I align myself with God's will today. It means you are stepping into grace, refusing delay, and saying, this is the day of my surrender. Oh, when you type it, see it as a key turning in a lock. Doors closed by hesitation will open. Chains of procrastination will break. Heaven will record that you marked this day as the day of your obedience. Do not underestimate this act. What seems small in the natural carries weight in the spirit. It is the echo of your heart saying, yes, Lord, I will not wait another day. Your future is not secured by hesitation, but by obedience. And obedience begins with one step. Let that step be today. Mercy is calling now. The door is still open now. The light is still shining now. Do not gamble with later. Step into now. For the time of delay has ended. The time of obedience has come. And let this sink deep. You are not promised unlimited warnings. The fact that you are hearing this now is proof that mercy still surrounds you. Picture a clock striking midnight. The final chime echoes. And what was once open suddenly closes. That is how sudden the shift can be. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you so that you will not be caught sleeping when the hour arrives. You have been waiting for a perfect moment, but the perfect moment is never in the future. It is always now. Today is the only day you truly hold in your hands. So breathe deeply. Lift your head and say within your soul, no more delay. This is your line in the sand. This is where wandering ends and walking begins. The crown is waiting. The door is open. Step through it while you still can. Delay has always been one of the most subtle chains. Unlike visible struggles, betrayal, sickness, or loss, delay disguises itself as harmless waiting. It whispers, not yet, maybe later. It offers you comfort while quietly robbing you of years. And without realizing, you begin to trade destiny for procrastination. Chosen one. Delay is not neutral. It is an invisible prison with walls built from excuses. The enemy knows he cannot erase your calling. So instead, he convinces you to postpone it. Postponement feels easier, but it is just as destructive as outright rebellion. Think of a bird inside a cage. The door is open. Freedom is waiting. Yet the bird sits still, flapping occasionally, but never leaving. Why? Because the cage has become familiar. So too delay can become comfortable. You know you are meant for more, but familiarity keeps you stuck. The tragedy is not just the loss of time. Delay reshapes your heart. The more you wait, the harder it becomes to obey. The more you push decisions away, the weaker your courage grows. What once felt urgent now feels optional. Consider the parable of the 10 virgins waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were wise, carrying oil in their lamps. 5 were foolish, delaying preparation until it was too late. When the call finally came, the unprepared ran out of time. The door closed, and no amount of pleading could open it again. The writings in the book of James, chapter 4, Verse 17. Strike with clarity. If anyone knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. Let me tell you of a young man who knew his calling early. He felt it as a child, the pull of God on his heart. Yet he always told himself, when I am older, when I am stronger, when I have more time, then I will surrender. Days turned to years. His heart grew numb, and when finally he wanted to return, he found the voice of conviction quieter than before. He wept, not because God had rejected him, but because he had silenced himself for too long. Chosen one, do not make the same mistake. The years you lose to delay never return. You may find forgiveness, but lost time cannot be reclaimed. That is why the Spirit calls so fiercely now. Think of a runner at the starting line. The gun fires. The race begins. But he stays frozen, waiting for another signal. The crowd moves forward. The race progresses. And soon it is too late to catch up. Delay keeps you at the line while destiny runs ahead. And yet, there is hope, for even chains of delay can be broken. The power of God is not only to forgive sin, but to restore momentum. He can breathe life into wasted years and redeem what you thought was gone forever. Your freedom begins not with great leaps, but with small, consistent obedience. One prayer spoken when you don't feel like praying. One act of kindness offered even when you feel empty. One step forward when everything inside you says to wait. These small choices become hammers that crack the chains. Picture a wall of ice built around you. Every strike seems small, but each one weakens the structure. And one day, with one final strike, the ice shatters, and you are free. That is what breaking delay looks like. Persistence, obedience, refusing to let excuses reign over your destiny. Remember, you are not defined by how long you've waited. You are defined by the moment you choose to rise. And when you rise, delay loses its grip. Your feet step into paths already prepared. Opportunities that looked lost begin to reappear. Favor flows again. Strength rises. Do not despise the time already gone. Use it as fire. Let the ache of wasted days fuel your determination to never waste another. What matters most is not the years behind you, but the obedience before you. Chains of delay are breaking even as you recognize them. For to see the chain is already the beginning of freedom. Blindness was its strongest power, but now your eyes are open. Chosen one. Walk forward. The waiting season is over. The cage door is open. Spread your wings. Step into the sky you were made for. For every year lost, God has a plan to redeem. For every day delayed, He has grace to restore. But you must move. You must choose. Delay is a thief, but it is not your master. The chains are cracking. The ground is shaking, and your freedom is near. This is the hour. This is the moment. Walk out of delay and into destiny. Not every battle you face comes in the form of visible darkness. Sometimes, the enemy approaches with a smile. He offers shortcuts, bargains, easy paths that promise relief but end in bondage. These are the counterfeits, the false lights that mimic the voice of God but carry the poison of deception. You must understand, Satan does not only roar like a lion, he also disguises himself as an angel of light. What he cannot crush with force, He tries to seduce with imitation. This is why discernment is vital for the chosen ones. Think of counterfeit coins. At first glance, they shine as real, but their weight is wrong, their value false, their substance weak. To the careless eye, they look convincing. To the trained hand, they are exposed. So too with the offers of the enemy. They glitter but lack substance. How many promises in your life have looked good in the beginning, only to end in disappointment? How many times did you follow what seemed easier, only to discover chains waiting at the end? That is the nature of the counterfeit. It entices, then enslaves. There is a story in the scriptures of Israel growing restless in the wilderness. Moses had gone up the mountain to meet God. The people grew tired of waiting. In their impatience, they gathered gold and fashioned a calf. They called it their God. It glittered in the sun, but it was powerless to save. Their shortcut led to judgment. Impatience often makes you vulnerable to counterfeits. When the wait feels long, the enemy whispers, "Why not take this instead? Why not choose this quicker way?" But what comes quickly is rarely what lasts. The writings in the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 12. Speak with piercing clarity. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. That verse is a mirror. It reveals the danger of trusting appearance without seeking truth. Just because something shines does not mean it is light. Imagine walking in a desert at night, desperate for water. In the distance, you see a shimmering pool. You run, only to discover it is a mirage. That is what the enemy offers: illusions that waste your strength but never quench your thirst. But God's way, though sometimes slower, always satisfies. His promises are not mirages, they are wells of living water. When you drink from them, you are never the same. Chosen one. Learn from the story of Jesus in the wilderness. After 40 days of fasting, the enemy came, offering shortcuts, stones into bread, kingdoms without a cross. Angels commanded at will. Each offer glittered like gold, but each was counterfeit. And how did Jesus respond? Not with emotion, but with truth. He wielded the word like a sword, exposing deception and holding fast to obedience. You too must wield truth. The word is your safeguard against the counterfeit. Without it, your heart can be swayed by appearances. With it, you can discern the difference between temporary glitter and eternal glory. Think of a diamond. To the untrained, glass may look the same, but under pressure, under fire, the real endures, while the false shatters. Your trials, your seasons of waiting, are not wasted. They are proving your faith to be genuine, distinguishing it from what is false. The counterfeit always seeks to steal your destiny, but your discernment, sharpened through prayer, through the word, through waiting, keeps you anchored. Do not fear the counterfeit, recognize it. The very fact that the enemy tempts you proves that you carry something worth imitating. Counterfeit only exists because something authentic already does. The presence of false light in your life is evidence that real light burns within you. Hold to what is real, even if it costs more time, more waiting, more endurance. Truth always outlasts lies. You were not chosen for imitation. You were chosen for authenticity. Your path may not be the easiest, but it is the truest. and it will carry you not into chains, but into freedom. Let the false glitter pass by. Let the shortcuts fade. Fix your eyes on the one who never deceives, the one whose light exposes every counterfeit, for he alone is the way, the truth, and the life. And remember this, the glitter of deception will always fade, but the light of truth never dims. When others chase illusions, stand firm. When others settle for shadows, keep your eyes fixed on the flame that never fails. You were not born to chase mirages, you were born to drink from living waters. Chosen one, do not trade your crown for counterfeit gold. What God has prepared for you is worth every step, every weight, every sacrifice. There is a holy tension in your spirit right now. You feel the pull between two worlds, two choices, two outcomes. On one side is compromise easy, convenient, the way of comfort. On the other side is the crown costly, refining, but filled with eternal glory. The Spirit does not whisper casually today. He presses with weight, because you cannot stand in both places forever. Neutrality is an illusion. Sooner or later, you will step to one side. The question is, which will it be? Compromise always looks smaller at first. A thought tolerated, be excused. A step slightly off the path. But compromise grows, like a seed in the wrong soil. It takes root and spreads until it overtakes the whole field. That is why Scripture warns us again and again. A little yeast works through the whole batch of dough. Your crown, however, does not come through compromise. It comes through surrender, through choosing obedience when it costs, through refusing shortcuts when they glitter, through standing tall when everything in you feels weak. The crown is not a decoration, it is a destiny. The Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians, reminding them in chapter 9, verse 25, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Do you see? Crowns cost discipline. Crowns demand decision. Crowns require you to say no to compromise so you can say yes to destiny. Think of a warrior standing on a battlefield. His armor is dented, his shield scarred, but his eyes burn with fire. In his hand is not just a weapon, but an inheritance. He knows that if he drops it, the enemy takes not only his strength, but his legacy. That is you. You are standing, scarred but chosen, weary but marked. And the decision before you is no small matter. Many have lost their crowns because of compromise. They chose applause over obedience, convenience over conviction, popularity over truth, and their light dimmed. But you, chosen one, are being warned and called higher. Your crown still waits. So I ask you now, will you settle for compromise? Or will you rise for the crown? In the comments, type crown over compromise. When you write these words, you are not just leaving a comment, you are sealing a choice. It is a declaration before heaven and earth that no shortcut, no temptation, no counterfeit will steal what God has prepared for you. These words are not empty. They become your banner, lifted high in the middle of battle. By saying, crown over compromise, you are affirming that you will not trade eternal reward for temporary comfort. You are declaring that obedience matters more than convenience. You are telling your own heart that your destiny is greater than your distractions. This simple act carries power because it is both confession and commitment. It tells the enemy that you belong to the King, and it reminds you that your crown is worth every sacrifice. The battlefield is before you, but so is your crown. Compromise is loud, but the Spirit's whisper is stronger. And when you choose the crown, you step into a legacy unshakable, a victory eternal, and a glory that will never fade. This is not just a decision for today, it is a declaration for eternity. And understand this, compromise is never neutral. It is not simply a pause, it is a surrender. Every time you choose compromise, you hand the enemy ground that was meant to be yours. Every time you refuse it, you guard your inheritance and strengthen your spirit. Think of compromise like a slow leak in a great ship. At first, it seems harmless, only a trickle, but left unchecked, it sinks what was built to sail the seas. Your soul was not designed to sink. You were made to carry the weight of a crown, to stand firm against the tides of deception. When you declare crown over compromise, you are patching the leak before it destroys the vessel. You are saying, I will not drift where the current pushes me. I will set my course toward destiny. No, heaven hears such declarations. The unseen world recognizes such resolve, and even though the battle may rage, your words anchor your steps and strengthen your resolve. This is why your crown matters. It is not only for you, but for generations who will walk in the light of your obedience. Rise, chosen warrior. You were never born to shrink. You were never designed to bow to fear. From the moment of your first breath, the heavens marked you as one who would disrupt darkness. That is why the storms in your life have been so relentless. The battle has not been about where you've been, it has always been about where you are going. The world does not need another faint light, it needs a blazing fire. And you, though you may feel small, carry within you a spark that terrifies the shadows. It is time to rise, not as one barely surviving, but as one destined to lead, to shine, to war in the spirit. Imagine a torch held high in the night. Its flame, though fragile in appearance, lights the way for many. Without it, travelers stumble. With it, the path becomes clear. That torch is your life, your testimony, your obedience, and the brighter it burns, the more others find courage to walk forward. But here is the truth, even the strongest flames need fuel. A fire that is never fed eventually fades. That is why connection matters. That is why community matters. That is why building together matters. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds." You are not meant to carry this fight alone. Every warrior needs an army. Every flame burns brighter when joined with others. That is what this space, this message, this work is meant to be: a gathering of lights, refusing to be swallowed by darkness. Now, let me speak plainly, but with tenderness. If this voice has strengthened you, if these words have carried you through a valley, then see yourself not just as a listener, but as a builder. Think of a lighthouse standing on a cliff. For it to shine every night, someone must keep oil in the lamp. If the oil runs dry, the light goes out, and ships lose their way. Your simple acts, liking, sharing, subscribing, are drops of oil in that lamp. They may feel small, but together they keep the fire burning night after night. When you spread the message, you extend the light farther than you realize. When you subscribe, you strengthen the tower so it stands tall against storms. And when you choose to give, to donate, it is not a transaction, it is planting a seed in eternity's soil. Imagine dropping one small seed into the earth. At first, it seems insignificant, but over time, roots die deep, branches stretch wide, and fruit multiplies for generations. That is what your giving does. It multiplies hope. It multiplies light. I will never tell you it is required. No crown can be bought. No salvation earned with money. But I will tell you this: when you give freely, joyfully, as an act of worship, you are pouring water on thirsty ground, and the fruit of that water feeds countless souls you may never meet. Think of yourself walking into a vast cathedral. Candles line the walls, glowing in reverent silence. Each candle burns because someone, at some point, chose to light it. That is what your support does. It lights candles in the dark for others who are still searching for hope. So let your heart decide. If all you can do is press like, know that even that is oil for the flame. If you share, you are carrying the torch into someone else's night. If you subscribe, you are planting your flag with this army of light. And if you donate, you are building altars where God's presence can rest and lives can be changed. None of it is forced. All of it is beautiful, voluntary, sacred. And as you rise, chosen warrior, know this: you are not rising alone. Every act of faith, every seed of support, every whispered prayer joins together until a great chorus of light thunders across the darkness. Your life is the torch. Your obedience is the oil. Your crown is the testimony that shines for others. And as you choose to rise, as you choose to burn, generations will see the path clearer because you refused to stay hidden. The night is deep, but dawn is nearer than you think. Lift your flame higher. Let it be fed. Let it be shared. Let it shine without fear. Chosen warrior, rise, for your time is now, and every small act, whether a prayer whispered in secret, a candle lit with a like, a torch passed with a share, a banner raised with a subscribe, or a seed sown through a donation, becomes part of heaven's great story written through your life. There is a moment in history that repeats itself across generations, the hour of separation. It is the hour when God draws a line, and humanity must decide on which side it will stand. This is not a line written by culture, nor by opinion, but by eternity itself. The hour of separation is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to clarify. It shows who belongs to the light and who clings to the dark. It reveals where allegiance truly lies. Think of a threshing floor. In ancient days, harvesters gathered the wheat and struck it against the ground. The heavy kernels fell, while the light chaff blew away with the wind. Both had grown together in the same field, but only one had weight to remain. That is what this moment feels like. You are being sifted. It may feel like pressure. It may feel like shaking. But the shaking is not to destroy you, it is to reveal you. The true wheat does not vanish in the wind. It remains, ready for the Master's storehouse. There is a sobering story Jesus told. The parable of the sheep and the goats. On the outside, both groups lived, walked, and spoke as though they belonged. But when the king came, he separated them not by words they spoke, but by the lives they lived, compassion, obedience, mercy. These were the marks of those who truly belonged to him. This parable is not distant history. It is a mirror for today. The Spirit whispers that the same sifting is happening now. The hour of separation is here. Not everyone who says, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom. Only those who choose obedience in truth will. The book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15, declares with timeless clarity, "But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." Separation always comes with choice. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot walk two roads at once. To delay decision is itself a decision. To choose both is to choose neither. Imagine standing at a crossroads in a forest. One path is wide, smooth, lined with many travelers. The other is narrow, steep, and few are walking it. At first glance, the wide road seems inviting, but only one path leads to life. Your steps cannot remain on both. Chosen one. This is why the Lord presses you. It is not cruelty, it is mercy. By drawing the line now, He spares you from drifting unknowingly into destruction. His call to choose is a call to life. And yes, choosing may separate you from what is familiar. It may cause some relationships to fade, some habits to die, some comforts to end. But every separation is also a preparation. God removes what cannot stay, so you can step into what must come. Think of gold again. To separate the pure from the impure, the fire must burn. The impurities rise to the surface, skimmed away by the refiner's hand. Painful, yes, but necessary. Without it, the gold remains mixed, diminished. With it, the gold shines with value. So too, in your life, the fire has been hot not to consume you, but to separate what cannot remain. And here lies the promise: those who remain, those who endure the sifting, will shine like stars. For God is not only separating for now, He is separating for eternity. Even now, you may feel the cost of standing apart. You may feel the sting of rejection, the loneliness of walking narrow paths. But heaven records your choice. Heaven sees your loyalty. Heaven honors your endurance. Do not despise the hour of separation. It is your hour of destiny. For when the sifting ends, when the line is drawn, you will stand on the side of light, clothed not in shame, but in glory. And your crown will testify. You chose rightly, chosen one. This is the hour. Step fully into the side you were marked for. Let the shaking refine you, not scare you. Let the separation free you, not bind you. For the King is watching. The line is clear, and eternity is listening. And do not forget this truth: separation is not rejection, it is selection. God is not pushing you away, He is pulling you closer. By calling you out, He is calling you higher. By drawing a line, He is defining your destiny. So when you feel the shaking, lift your head. It is not to destroy you, It is to prove that you belong to Him fully. There is a weight to the truth that cannot be ignored. Grace is not endless in its offer. Mercy reaches, but it does not reach forever. There comes a time when a heart that refuses to respond finds itself numb, unable to feel what once burned so strongly. That is the danger of trampling on grace. The Spirit speaks clearly. If you reject the only sacrifice given for you, there is no other sacrifice left. To turn away from the cross is to turn away from the only bridge to life. There is no second cross. There is no alternate path. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26, declares with piercing weight, if we deliberately keep on sinning after we have received the knowledge of the truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. End quote. This is not written to condemn you, but to awaken you. For if you are still hearing this now, it means your heart is not beyond reach. Conviction itself is mercy. The voice that presses you now is proof that the door is still open. Imagine a torch carried through a dark cave. It flickers, but it burns. If you shield it, protect it, feed it, it will lead you out. But if you smother it, if you cover it with your own hand, it goes out and the darkness becomes absolute. That is what happens when grace is rejected. The light that once guided begins to dim, not because God is weak, but because the heart refused His flame. Think of Israel again. They had the temple, the priests, the sacrifices. Yet when they hardened their hearts, the prophet said, Ichabod, the glory has departed. The outward forms remained, but the presence was gone. That is the warning here. Do not settle for the shell when the Spirit is gone. Chosen one. This message is heavy because your calling is heavy. You were not made to drift. You were not made to toy with grace. You were made to carry glory, to burn with truth, to walk with fire in your bones. That is why the Spirit presses so hard today. Do not silence the conviction. Do not ignore the tug. Every heartbeat right now is evidence of mercy still working. Every breath is proof of grace still reaching. And so, I call you to mark this moment, to seal it not just in thought, but in action. In the comments, type 474. This number is more than digits. The number 4 is a picture of stability, of foundation, of the 4 corners of the earth. The number 7 is the mark of divine completion. By writing 474, you are declaring, Lord, establish my foundation in you, and complete in me what you have begun. It is not a casual act. It is a prophetic one. Each keystroke is a brick laid in the foundation of obedience. Each number is a signpost that says, I refuse to trample on grace. I choose the sacrifice that saves me. I choose the cross above all else. When you write it, you are aligning your spirit with eternity. Heaven will see it. Angels will witness it. And the chains that cling to hesitation will loosen their grip. Do not think lightly of this. What may feel like numbers on a screen is in truth a covenant act. The Spirit who reads hearts also reads declarations. So let it be clear, no other sacrifice remains. But the one given for you is enough. It is sufficient. It is final. And it is calling you now. And let this truth burn into your heart. The cross is not one option among many. It is the only door. To step away from it is to step into emptiness. But to cling to it is to find life, strength, and peace that cannot be stolen. Picture a mountain path. At the base, many trails twist and turn. Some wide, some appealing, some filled with laughter and noise. But as you climb higher, paths begin to vanish until only one remains. That one path, though narrow and steep, leads to the summit where light breaks over the horizon. The cross is that narrow path. It is demanding, but it is certain. When you typed 474, you were not just pressing numbers, you were choosing that narrow path. You were saying, Lord, anchor me in your foundation. Finish the work in me. Do not let me wander into false trails again. La. These words matter. Numbers become testimony. Testimony becomes covenant. Covenant becomes destiny. Chosen one. Remember, grace is costly because it was bought with blood. But costly grace is also powerful. It is enough to cover you, restore you, and carry you until the very end. The fire you walk through is not sent to destroy you, it is sent to refine you. You may look at your trials and think, this is too much. This will break me. Yet what feels like breaking is often the shaping of something greater within you. The storm that surrounds you is not a punishment but a furnace. Furnaces are not comfortable places. The heat strips away what cannot last. But in that process, what is pure remains. Gold does not complain as it melts. It simply emerges brighter. And in the same way, the fire you are facing is burning away what was never meant to cling to you. Think back on the times you felt weakest. The nights when you thought you would not make it through. Yet you did. Even when your strength ran dry, something carried you forward. That was not coincidence. That was grace at work, shaping your spirit through the fire. There is a truth written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 10. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Chosen one. Hear this carefully. Your affliction is not wasted. Your trials are not meaningless. Every tear you cried in secret was fuel for transformation. Every burden you carried became weight that built unseen muscles of faith. Imagine clay in the potter's hand, soft, unformed, spinning on the wheel. The pressure of his hands, the turning of the wheel, the scraping of edges, all of it feels harsh. But it is love shaping the clay into a vessel of beauty and strength. Without pressure, the clay collapses. With it, the clay becomes something useful. You are that clay, and God is your potter. This refining does not come quickly. It comes in seasons. Sometimes it feels like winter, where everything is bare and nothing blooms. Sometimes like summer, where the heat is almost unbearable. And yet, every season has purpose. Winter grows the roots. Summer strengthens endurance. Autumn teaches letting go. Spring brings resurrection. Think of Joseph again, betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused, left in a prison. For years, his life looked like one long fire, but each stage was preparation. The betrayal taught resilience, the prison taught leadership, and when the moment came to stand before Pharaoh, Joseph was not broken, he was refined, ready to carry authority without arrogance, power without corruption. So too with you. What you see as delay, God sees as training. What you call loss, heaven calls pruning. What you fear will break you, is actually making you unbreakable. The fire is not your enemy. The fire is your ally. It is shaping you into one who can carry the crown without being crushed by it. Chosen one. Do not despise the furnace. Do not curse the flame. For while the enemy may intend it for harm, God intends it for good. The very thing sent to consume you becomes the tool that reveals your truest strength. When you pass through this season, you will not look the same. You will carry a weight of glory that only comes from walking through affliction and coming out with your faith intact. People will look at you and see resilience they cannot explain. They will hear your voice and feel authority that cannot be faked. And deep inside, you will know it was the fire. It was the breaking. It was the refining. So hold steady. Let patience finish its work. Do not rush out of the furnace too soon, for if you stay the course, you will emerge not only stronger but radiant, shining like a vessel of honor, prepared for every good work. Your story is not ending in ashes. Your story is rising in flame, and when the fire has done its work, the reflection that shines will not just be your own, it will be the image of the one who walked with you in the fire all along. And understand this, fire does not stay forever. Every furnace has its limit. Every storm, its ending. The flame may rage for a time, but its purpose is not eternal. What is eternal is what the fire leaves behind: purity, strength, unshakable faith. When you walk out of this, you will carry evidence that others cannot deny. Your scars will tell a story of survival. Your endurance will be a testimony of God's hand, and your refined spirit will become a light to those still in the flames. The fire that once frightened you will one day prove it only revealed the gold within. In the silence of eternity, scrolls are written. They are not like the books of men, filled with fleeting words and fading ink. These scrolls are written with fire, sealed with heaven's breath, preserved in the chambers of glory. And within them lies your destiny, chosen one. Your life is not a wandering accident. It is inscribed. Every moment, every detail, every battle you face has already been woven into a story larger than you can see. The scrolls of destiny are not written in haste. They are crafted with divine precision. Imagine our King's Library, lined with endless shelves. On each scroll is the name of one chosen for purpose. Angels are sent to carry them, waiting for the day the seal is broken and the mission released. This is not fantasy, it is how heaven views you. Before you took your first breath, your name was already spoken in heaven's courts. The scroll of your life was sealed, waiting for the moment when obedience would unlock it. This is why your spirit has felt restless. Deep down, you know there is more. Something you were born for. Something you cannot ignore. The prophet Ezekiel once described a vision of a scroll handed to him, written on both sides, filled with words of lament and hope. It was not only information, it was a commissioning, and when he consumed it, the message became part of him. So too, your destiny is not only to be read, but to be lived, written into your very being. The Book of Psalms, chapter 139, verse 16, reminds us of this truth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Every day, every step, every chapter of your life is already recorded. You may not know the ending yet, but heaven does. The scroll is complete, even if your eyes only see fragments. Think of a tapestry, woven strand by strand. Up close, you see only tangled threads, some dark, some bright, some seeming out of place. But step back, and a picture emerges, one of beauty, meaning, and design. Your life feels tangled now, but in the scrolls of destiny, it is a masterpiece already finished. There are angels assigned to your scroll. They do not act without command, but they stand ready, waiting for your obedience to activate what has been written. Your yes is like a seal being broken, releasing the words into action. Do not despise the waiting. Even the scrolls of destiny are opened at their appointed time. A king does not rush his decree. He unveils it when the moment is ripe. So too, the Lord reveals each chapter of your purpose exactly when it must come forth. Perhaps this explains why certain doors in your life have remained closed. It is not rejection, it is timing. The scroll for that season is still sealed. Forcing it open would only birth frustration. Waiting for the appointed time brings fruit that lasts. Think of John on the island of Patmos, alone, exiled, abandoned by many. Yet it was there he was shown visions of scrolls and seals, mysteries of heaven's plan that no one else had seen. Isolation became revelation. Your seasons of solitude may be the very ground where God reveals your scroll. And when it is revealed, it will not come with chaos, but with clarity. You will know. Your spirit will recognize the weight of the assignment, and though the cost may be high, the glory will be greater. Chosen one, you are not forgotten on a dusty shelf. Your scroll is alive, preserved, and guarded. Even now, heaven leans close, waiting for you to step fully into alignment so the next chapter may unfold. Lift your eyes from the fragments. Trust the author who wrote your days before you lived them. For he who began your story will not leave it unfinished. The scroll of your destiny will be opened, and its words will not return void. And when that moment comes, the world will see in you what heaven has always known, that you were chosen, inscribed, sealed, and sent for such a time as this. And let this comfort steady your heart. Destiny is not fragile. What God has written cannot be erased by failure, delay, or fear. The scroll remains intact, waiting for your obedience to unlock its pages. So walk forward with courage. Every step you take in faith draws you closer to the seal being broken. And when it opens, you will see that heaven never forgot your name. The sound of a trumpet is not soft. It does not whisper. It does not suggest, it declares. When a trumpet blasts, everything else falls silent. In the spirit, that trumpet is sounding now. It is not only a call to awaken, but a call to gather, to align, to prepare for what is coming. Chosen one. The trumpet is not sounding by accident. It is blowing because your season demands clarity. There is no more room for confusion. The call is clear. Stand. Rise. Prepare. In ancient days, when armies camped in the fields, the trumpet determined movement. A certain sound meant march. Another meant hold the line. Another still meant charge into battle. Without the trumpet, soldiers would scatter in chaos. With it, they became one, moving as a single force. That is what heaven is doing with you. now bringing order where there has been hesitation, strength where there has been weakness, and unity where there has been loneliness. The Word of God reminds us in the book of Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 8, if the trumpet does not sound a clear call, who will get ready for battle? The trumpet is sounding clearly. You hear it in your spirit even now. You cannot pretend not to hear. It stirs you, shakes you, summons you. And here, let me speak plainly, but with tenderness. This trumpet does not call only you, it calls us together. It calls a generation. It calls a family of light to rise shoulder to shoulder. And this is where you matter, not only as a listener, but as a builder. Think of a great bonfire. One log alone burns, but it fades quickly. Many logs together blaze so brightly that darkness cannot encroach. Your like, your share, your subscription, even your comment and your giving are like adding wood to that fire. Each piece matters. Each flame strengthens the blaze. And know this, none of these acts are small. A like may feel like a touch of a finger, but it is a spark, and sparks spread. A share may feel like one small gesture, but it is carrying a torch into another person's night. A subscription is more than a click. It is a pledge that says, I belong with this army. I will not march alone. A heartfelt comment is like carving your name on the wall of a great cathedral of light. It is saying, I was here. I heard the trumpet, and I chose to stand. Words written in faith do not vanish into air, they echo in eternity. And a donation, no matter the size, is not money lost. It is oil poured out on the altar. Without oil, lamps dim. With oil, lamps blaze through the night. By giving, you are saying, Lord, let this light never go out. Let more souls see the way home. Picture a vast cathedral filled with candles. Some are tall, some small, some burning with fierce flames, others flickering. Yet together they create an ocean of light that overwhelms the dark. Every act of support, whether you light one candle with a like, or several with a share, subscribe, comment, or donation becomes part of that great glow. And let this be clear, there is no force, nor demand, only invitation. The trumpet does not coerce, it calls. The choice is always yours. And when you respond, it is beautiful, because it is voluntary. This is how heaven builds, not through pressure, but through willing hearts, not through demands, but through devotion. So hear the trumpet in your own soul. Let it remind you that you are not alone. You are part of something larger, something brighter, something that will outlast even your lifetime. Chosen one. You are not only being called to survive, you are being called to shine, to add your voice to the chorus, your flame to the fire, your step to the march. The trumpet is sounding, and it is sounding for you. Rise, respond, take your place, and as you do, the heavens smile, for another warrior has answered. Another torch is lifted. Another flame joins the blaze. The darkness will never overcome a people who respond to the trumpet with courage, with unity, with devotion. And when history looks back, it will see that you were there, that you chose not only to listen but to stand, that you chose to be part of the fire that could not be put out. So let the trumpet resound in you. Let it echo through your choices. Let it mark you as one who said yes, not only in silence, but in action. For this is not the end. This is the rising of a great army of light, and you are part of its sound. Glory does not fall on the unprepared. Crowns are not placed on wandering heads. They rest only on those who endure the shaping, who surrender the hidden corners of their hearts, who refuse to let go even when the fire feels unbearable. And you, chosen one, are stepping into that hour. The crown of glory is drawing near. From the beginning, your journey has been marked by tension between weakness and strength. You have stumbled, yet you have risen. You have doubted, yet you have pressed forward. Every moment of breaking has been a preparation for the mantle you are about to carry. A mantle is more than clothing. In the ancient world, it was the symbol of authority, identity, and power. When Elijah's mantle fell on Elisha, it was not just fabric, it was fire. It carried weight, presence, and assignment. And when you yield, heaven places upon you not a garment of shame, but a mantle of authority. This mantle does not come cheaply. It is birthed in tears, carried in scars, sealed in obedience. That is why your battles have been so intense. The enemy does not waste his fury on the unmarked. He unleashes it on those chosen for crowns. Think of a soldier who has endured years of training, the sleepless nights, the grueling marches, the heavy loads. At times he wondered if it was worth it. But when the day of commissioning arrives, the weight of preparation suddenly makes sense. He stands, not as one crushed by training, but as one empowered by it. So it is with you. The Apostle Peter wrote words that echo over your life in his first letter, chapter 5, verse 10. And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Do you see it? Suffering is not the end. It is the threshold. After the trial, restoration comes. After the breaking, strength rises. After the stripping, steadfastness is formed. Imagine yourself as a tree standing in a storm. The winds bend you. The rain lashes. The thunder roars. From the outside, it looks as if you may snap, but beneath the soil, your roots grow deeper, gripping the unseen waters, anchoring you stronger than before. When the storm passes, you are not weaker, you are unshakable. This is what your spirit is becoming. Unshakable, unstoppable, unmovable. Not because the storms are absent, but because the crown of glory has rested on you. And when that crown comes, it is not only for your head, it is for your walk, your words, your presence. You will carry authority that shifts atmospheres, peace that silences storms, light that unsettles darkness. People will not only hear your voice, they will feel heaven in it. You may wonder, why me? Because you were marked. You may doubt, am I worthy? Worthiness was never the measure. Obedience is. The crown is not given to the flawless. It is given to the surrendered. Chosen one. The mantle awaits. It will rest upon your shoulders like fire. But not fire that consumes fire, that illuminates. Fire that reveals you were never ordinary. Fire that shows you carry heaven's imprint. Your name may not be known on the lips of crowds, but it is spoken in the courts of heaven. Angels recognize it. Demons fear it. And soon, those around you will see it, not because you boast, but because the crown cannot be hidden. Picture a torchbearer entering a dark stadium, one flame in hand. Yet the entire arena erupts in light. That is you. One life carrying a mantle can ignite nations. One surrendered heart can shift generations. The crown of glory is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a greater one. It is the sign that your season of refinement has borne fruit. It is heaven's declaration. This one endured. This one is ready. This one is crowned. So lift your head. Straighten your shoulders. The time of shame is ending. The season of authority is beginning. You are not a wanderer anymore. You are a torchbearer. You are not hidden anymore. You are a crown bearer. Chosen one. Your mantle has arrived, and with it comes the unshakable truth. You are unstoppable, unbreakable, crowned in glory. And remember this, the crown does not rest on you for decoration, but for demonstration. Everywhere you walk, the evidence of heaven's touch will follow. Doors will open, atmospheres will shift, and lives will change simply because you carried what was placed upon you. The crown is not just yours, it is heaven's witness through you. There comes a final hour when all the pieces converge. When what felt scattered and broken suddenly aligns into clarity. That hour is not far from you now. The journey you have walked, the valleys of silence, the deserts of waiting, the storms of affliction has not been wasted. Every season has been part of a holy weaving. Destiny is not formed in comfort. It is carved in struggle. The chiseling that felt painful was the very act shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry glory. Like stone under a sculptor's hand, every strike was purposeful, though you did not always understand. The artist never struck at random. He saw the masterpiece long before you did. And now, chosen one, you stand at the edge of revelation. What once was hidden will soon be revealed. The crown you glimpsed in whispers will be placed openly. The authority you carried in secret will flow without restraint. The waiting has been long, but heaven does not delay in vain. Do not despise the hidden years. They were not punishment, they were foundation. Seeds germinate in darkness before they rise to light. Roots dig deep underground before the tree lifts its head. What you thought was delay was really depth. Heaven was anchoring you so that when the winds came, you would not fall. The prophet Habakkuk once wrote of a vision, though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. This is your truth. The vision has tarried, but it has not died. The dream felt distant, but it was only maturing, like wine in a cellar. Its value increases with time, like stars hidden by daylight. It waits for the right night to appear. Chosen one, your story is larger than you. The trials you endured are not only for your refinement, they are for the encouragement of others. The scars you carry are not only reminders of pain, they are testimonies of survival. The tears you shed are not only for your healing, they are seeds of intercession for generations to come. Think of a runner at the end of a marathon. Every muscle aches. Every breath burns. Yet something within pushes forward. The crowd does not see the thousands of quiet steps, the lonely miles of training. They see only the finish line. And when the runner crosses it, every hidden moment makes sense. So too will it be with you. Your finish line is not the end of life, it is the fulfillment of calling. And as you cross it, you will not collapse in defeat. You will rise in victory, carrying not only your own crown, but lighting the way for those behind you. Imagine a lighthouse on a cliff, battered by waves, standing unmoved. Its light sweeps across the sea, guiding lost ships to safety. That lighthouse does not shine for itself, it shines for others. Your destiny is the same. What you carry will draw many from wreckage into refuge. Do not shrink back now. You did not endure so much just to falter at the edge. The crown, the mantle, the scroll, all of it converges here. Heaven is not silent. Angels lean close. The author of your story prepares to read aloud what he wrote in secret. Chosen one, this is the moment to stand with unwavering resolve, to lift your eyes from the dust and fix them on eternity, to recognize that your life was never about survival, it was about victory. And when the final chapter turns, when eternity records your days, it will testify not of one who gave up, but of one who overcame. Your legacy will not be written in the language of fear, but in the ink of faith. Your story will not end in shadows, but blaze with light. The crown is waiting. The glory is near. The journey has been long, but the destination will be worth it. Chosen one, step forward. The time has come. And know this, the crown that awaits is not fragile metal, it is eternal weight. It will not rust. It will not fade. It will not be taken from you. It is crafted from obedience, polished by surrender, and sealed by grace. You may have thought the world overlooked you, but heaven never did. Every hidden act of faith, every quiet prayer, every moment you chose, light over darkness, has been recorded. And now those very choices are being woven into a crown of glory. So do not fear the closing of this chapter. It is not an ending, but a beginning, a doorway into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Chosen one. The journey of these words now closes, but your journey is only beginning. Everything spoken over you was not meant to entertain, it was meant to awaken. You were never ordinary. You were chosen, refined, and crowned for such a time as this. When you like this message, it is as if you are dropping a stone into still water. The ripples move outward farther than your eyes can follow. One small spark can ignite another, and another, until a forest of faith catches flame. When you share, it is like carrying a lantern through a crowded marketplace at night. Strangers who never knew your name suddenly glimpse light they had longed for. A single act of courage can illuminate someone else's hidden path. A comment is not just words typed on a screen. It is as if you are inscribing your name into a book of witnesses. It says, "I was here. I heard the call. I chose to stand." Your testimony becomes a marker stone along the road for others who are still searching. To subscribe is not only to follow it, is to join a caravan moving together through the desert. Alone, a traveler may falter, but with a caravan, the journey is sustained. By planting your flag here, you declare, "I walk with this family of light." And to donate is like pouring oil into the lamp of a lighthouse standing on a cliff. Ships you may never see, sailors you may never meet, will find safety because your oil kept the flame burning. Your gift is not money lost, it is light multiplied. Each act, whether a like, a share, a comment, a subscription, or a gift is not wasted. They are threads in a great tapestry of fire and faith, weaving something eternal. So rise, torchbearer, carry the flame, for the world is waiting, and heaven is watching.